Welcome to Pop Century. Today we are doing a 12-minute tour of what I think is Disney's best value resort. We're gonna be going over the lobby, the transportation, the pools, the room types, the food they have here, everything you need to know about Pop Century in 12 minutes. It's one of my favorite stays at Disney World, and I think you're gonna understand why by the end of this video, so let's get right to it. A Pop Century's theme is celebrating the 20th century American pop culture, starting from the 1950s all the way to the 1990s. It's a fun themed hotel and works out perfectly for a value. So right here from the front, you can already see a taxi pulling in. This is right in front of the lobby. This is where you're gonna get dropped off when you first show up to Pop Century, whether that's from a shuttle bus from the airport, whether it's from a taxi, an Uber, your own car, this is where you're gonna pull up first. This is not where the Walt Disney World buses will take you to and from the parks or anything like that. Shuttle buses to and from airports, that kind of thing. The only Disney transportation that does pick up here, as you can see, if you can see it over there, is a minivan. Now, if you did come here by car, you can drop people off here, and then check-in parking will be right over there. Now to the right of the lobby as well is your luggage services right over here. Once you're dropped off, this will be your entrance to the lobby. Couldn't tell just from that walk-in, the lobby is really long. So there's a lot of front desk space, and they're usually very good about having people working there, so you don't typically wait that long unless you're still waiting to check in. You're not quite there yet. There is a lot of seating right there as well if you're waiting. For a value resort, I really do like the lobby here. It's nice, long, and very spacious. Now, once you do that long walk from check-in, it brings you to the center here, the classic hall. To your left, you have a small business center that has mail, telephone, ATM. You have your transportation out to buses. You have your Everything Pop, which is the gift shop and the quick service right there. That's your dining at this resort. Over to the right is gonna be the arcade out towards the pool. Let's go over all that real quick. Pop Century does have two types of transportation. First up, we're gonna talk about is buses, and it's right out to the left. Now, it's right out to the left of the lobby. If you come out here, you can see we're right back out there. There's the lobby. Now, all the bus stations do have a screen that tell you when the next bus will be. Because there's two types of transportations here, the Skyliner is the one that will take you to Epcot and Hollywood Studios. They don't have a bus here to any of those parks as of right now. It is just the Skyliner. Now, for any reason, if the Skyliner does go down, the buses will come up here. That's why they have a station here. Or if for any reason the Skyliner's down for maintenance for a couple of weeks, sometimes that does happen, they'll have the buses running from here. So that's why the stations. But if you are going to Epcot and Hollywood Studios from here, you'll have to take the Skyliner. They don't have Disney buses. Shaded benches too, as you're waiting for the bus. Lines aren't super long. You're able to chill in the shade before your bus gets here. All right, now back into the classic hall. Quick look into Everything Pop. Again, your gift shop and dining here at Pop Century. At this gift shop, you're gonna find your classic Disney merch here, pins, as well as like water bottles, snacks, other things for your hotel room. It's your classic Disney hotel gift shop. As you can see, a lot of seating here at Everything Pop. Goes all the way around, where you get your food being right there in the middle. Some construction walls still up here, so it's not completely done, but almost finished. And it looks very clean and nice and smells great in here. Gotta say, I haven't eaten at this food court in years, but the renovations in there, it looked really nice. And the food actually does look pretty good. A board here in the lobby with all the special activities the resort has to offer, so make sure you check that out if you come here. Over to that last part of the classic hall, we have the fast forward arcade in there. Goes back very far. Right, last thing for the lobby is just if you're looking for bathrooms, there is right up here to the right before you go out to the pool. We got some additional outdoor seating for the quick service right here. Now, there's a windy day here at Pop. You have your bar right over here called Pedals. Here's the directory of Pop Century right here. You can see we are right here. Let's head over here to the right and start with the 50s, work our way up through the 60s, 70s, 80s, and finish up at the 90s. And at the very end, again, talk about the rooms that they offer here. So the 50s is that way. Right behind the Pedals bar, you'll have some bathrooms and laundry. So if you need some laundry done here, it is right behind the Pedals bar. And right to the right of the lobby as well is the checkout luggage, grocery, ECV rentals, stroller rentals and stuff. All that is taken care of right here. If you get lost for any reason, they give you a hotel map when you check in, but these things are literally all throughout the resort, so you should be fine. You're over here in the center of the 50s area of Pop Century. Part of the resort does have a pool that's shaped like a bowling pin. I'll get an upshot so you can see it. Now, like every good value resort, they do have these big statues for the theming. Over here is Lady and the Tramp. You can see Lady over there, house over there as well, which is pretty much just a cast member building, but still cool theming. You got the bowling pin steps, you got the records and the radios on the wall. Of the pools here, I would say this is usually the most quiet. Hours are always subject to change, but right now during spring break, they are 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. Pretty late for the pool. A lot of them close at 10, but this is open till 11. Here's our best look at the 50s room. Now the farthest are gonna be back there, but really not that far walk to the lobby. Kind of see the lobby through the trees right there. But not a bad section to be at if you do come to Pop Century, because you are really close to the pool. Now, if you don't get the pool view room at the 50s, you could be looking over at the Skyliner, which this is not a bad view at all. And a lot of the people who stay at the 50s get this walkway right out of their room that takes you directly over to the Skyliner. Now we can make our way over to the 60s, where you can see the yo-yo is now the steps as opposed to the bowling pin. Now here we are in the center of the 60s. Now the 60s are gonna be more of your preferred rooms, and you're gonna get those pool views. As you can see, the main pool right here goes right into the lobby. That's where we came out of. This Play-Doh, this is one of the photo ops here. There's this huge Play-Doh thing as well, with a huge Jungle Book photo op right here as well in the 60s. And this is one of my favorite ones. This one's awesome. The other one that has the records and the radios, this has the classic 60s right here with the pedals. Very Brady Bunch-esque if you ask me. Now here's a better look at that pool that's shaped like the pedal as well. Obviously wider than the bowling pin, but definitely not as long. And is definitely the busier pool as it's right by the lobby. Also behind those trees over there, they have like a little kid playing area as well, a little splash pad. But honestly, a nice looking section right here. These are gonna be your more preferred rooms because you're close to the lobby, the transportation, see the Skyliner station right around there. So if you're in one of these rooms, you're really gonna be connected to everything. Downside is it's very loud here. So if you do stay at these rooms, you are connected to everything, but it's gonna be noisy throughout the night, especially with the pool being open until 11 p.m. One of those yo-yo staircases right here. And right around on the back end of the 60s brings you right out again towards that lobby. So the 60s are gonna be your main rooms here. Now here's a look of the rooms we covered. You can see the 50s over by the Classic Hall right here. The only real long walk you're gonna have so far is these back rooms here at the 50s. That's about it. The 60s right here, and we're gonna head over now to the 70s right over there. Another photo op of Goofy with a surfboard. The thing I love about this is they do a great job of combining the Pop Century theming with Disney, so you still feel like you're at a Disney resort. Now we're over here in the 70s, and my favorite part of this resort, this is where I like to stay, with the huge foosball behind you. Your photo ops here are gonna be the Mickey telephone and the big wheel, which looks like it just got some fresh paint. Now one of the underrated parts about staying near these rooms and this part at Pop Century is this whole main walkway and everything has a ton of trees, a lot of shade. Now we just got through the 70s and we're over here to the 80s and the 90s. It's kind of combined over here, so we can take a look at that. In the 70s though, there's no pool or anything like that, just that big foosball. But so that means though, it is one of the quieter parts because like I said, you have the pool over here, the pool over here, and a pool at the 80s and 90s. There's no pool at the 70s, making it one of the more quieter sections of Pop Century. As you head into the 80s with Rubik's Cube steps over here. Fun fact about me is one of my New Year's resolutions was to learn how to do a Rubik's Cube. I have not yet learned, but that's besides the point. Here's a look at the combination of the 80s and 90s, and there's some guest laundry over here, and I think I missed that there is as well as the 50s. So if you're staying at the 50s or you're staying over here at the 80s and 90s and you don't want to walk all the way to the laundry, the lobby, they do have guest laundry at both of those sections too, so you won't have to walk far. They have Pac-Man theming here by the rooms, which I think is really cool, and breakdancing. One of your huge photo ops over here is the Walkman, and your other one is Roger Rabbit. Now here's an up high look at the 80s and 90s right here. And like I said, the pool, just a square with the theming of a computer. It's funny, I could have been wrong here. I said the other one was usually the least busy, and when I stayed here years ago, that was true. This one was crazy, and the bowling pin wasn't that bad, but it might be reversed now. It also might just be depending on your stay. Now over there is just the 90s building. Like I said, it's a combination. Now if you're staying at these buildings right here, again, one of the more quiet buildings, but gonna be your longest walk to the lobby, to transportation, everything like that. Just look at your views if you're not looking at the pool from the 80s and 90s. You got trees and the parking lot. Now behind me, as you can see, is that Skyliner station. It's the only floating Skyliner station. If you leave the Pop Century lobby like we did and you head straight back past the pool, it'll take you right here to the, not a far walk from most of the buildings, and like I said, it's gonna get you to Hollywood Studios and Epcot. I will say is this station in the mornings can get very, very backed up. If you want to get to the parks and you don't want to wait super long, get here a little earlier, get to those parks earlier, because around 9 and 10 o'clock, the line for this can back up fast. All right, so we covered the 90s area, 80s area, 70s area, 60s area, 50s area, and the Classic Hall, and the Skyliner. So we covered the whole grounds. Let's talk about the rooms and who this resort is really for. Talking about the rooms, there's 4 different type of room types, but they're all kind of the same. The most it's gonna sleep up to is 4. So if you're looking for those family suites from a value-wise, you gotta go to Art of Animation. They don't have any of the family suites here at Pop Century. Least expensive is gonna be the standard room. This is gonna be the ones where your view is of trees or it's of the guest parking lot. It's gonna be farther from the lobby. Now, all these standard rooms could have one queen size pull down bed and one queen bed. So all the rooms have this like table and you can pull it down into a bed. It's actually really convenient. Or they have one king bed. All the rooms are very similar like this. The only thing that changes is the location of the room and the view. So you have a standard room that has a pool view. These are gonna be over by the 50s and the 90s. These will be your standard pool view. They're gonna be more expensive than the standard rooms, but they're not gonna be as pricey as the preferred ones. The other 2 rooms you have are their preferred pool view. These are gonna be right there in the 60s, right down the middle. It's gonna be close to the Skyliner and other transportation and the lobby. Where you're gonna have the preferred room, where these have more views again of the courtyard and like the landscaping around. It's close to the transportation, but it's not gonna be looking at the pool. So it's gonna be close to everything, but it's gonna be a little quieter than those preferred pool view rooms. These are value prices right now. You can get them anywhere from like 160 bucks a night to like 300 and some dollars a night. It changes throughout the season, so it depends on when you're going, so you have to take a look. But I do like these rooms. They have a good bathroom, good shower, and the beds were very comfortable the last time I stayed here. So I do recommend Pop Century. Now, who is Pop Century for? It's for those smaller families, for these couples, people who are gonna be in the park the majority of the day. So if you're somebody who gets to the park open and you're staying till close, you're only using your room to sleep, these are really good. They have 3 different pool options here, which is really good. And they have the Skyliner, which can get you to Riviera, Caribbean Beach, and Beach and Yacht Club, where you can walk around. There's a lot to do there and explore there when it comes to dining and other things like that. So if you are still taking a day off, I still would consider this resort as one of the cheapest areas to stay at Disney, with all the amenities of staying there, like the resort transportation, and it has some of the best resort transportation because you don't just have the bus, you have the Skyliner. When it comes to value resorts, what it has over the All-Stars is a lot better location closer to all these parks besides Animal Kingdom. You're gonna be on the go. If you're looking for a place to stay, save some money, and have a solid room, I think Pop Century's for you. It is my favorite value resort. I've stayed here multiple times, even on a staycation from living here when we were cast members. I've stayed here. That's the end of my tour. That's the 12-minute tour. I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave in the comments what resorts you want me to hit next. I'm gonna try to do every single resort in this fashion really quick. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and I will see you on Sunday.